Well, I'm sure we won't be talking about Splatoon 3 anymore in this episode of the podcast, even though none of that made it in there. I promise I won't be bringing it up in the next, 15 or 20 minutes again.
Yeah, this Palumpolum does look like an area in Splatoon. You could probably
look. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna pull up my notes. You can leave this part in the in the podcast because it's funny. But where's my notes? Okay, here we go. Can I zoom into my notes? I can.
I like how you zoomed in on it and it just said Splatsville, and then the next line it just says for family. So I'm just thinking of all the Vin Diesel guys just standing there for family, but they're all squids. But yeah, of course, if you're listening, if you've made it this far, I guess it's only been a minute or whatever since we cut out the 20 minutes we were talking about Splatoon. This is, of course, the Anarchy Splatcast. We are Deep Cut. I am Fry. With me, as always, is Shiver and Big Man, our producer.
I want to be Big Man, but Alex is a foot taller than me, so I got an option there.
I gotta be Fry because I am Team Grub.
I get to be Shiver because I'm the least gender of the
the least gender, but the one that everyone is the most horny for.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, although maybe Big Man.
That's true.
I mean, there's no shortage of people being extremely
all three of them are
Splatoon
fantastic.
3, yeah. But anyway, we're not begrudgingly, we're not talking about Splatoon 3. We are talking about Final Fantasy 13, which is also a video game that we very much enjoy. This is the Every FNFF podcast. I am Carl Germ.
I'm Curtis.
I'm still Big Man.
Hey.
One more quick Splatoon thing. I'm sorry. There's a post that I saw in Splatoon that I think about every day since seeing it, and it's just someone being hugged by Big Man and says, hey, shut up. I'm Big Man. So shout outs to whoever posted that. That's very
Did I
good.
send you the comic of Fry and Shiver yelling at Big Man, and they're like, "Say fuck, Big Man! Yeah, Big Man, you have to say it. Say fuck."
Anyway, we're going to be doing a little splatting of our own this week in Palumpolum.
Indeed.
But where we left off, things were getting a little tense, if we remember correctly. Snow just couldn't stop saying the dumbest shit in the world, but more so than usual, because he was saying it to the person who actively has a weapon that is trying to stab him.
King behavior.
Yeah, it was a very old Macbeth moment with the knife behind his back. The life of the Snow.
It's in the data logs, they've actually updated the name of the survival knife to Chekhov's knife. So we're coming up to the third act where that's going to make another appearance, I think.
Oh yeah, the other fallacy we didn't mention. But Snow gets a call on his lipstick.
He does.
God,
can we talk about cell phones in this game? They're great.
It looks like something definitely from the thousands, but it kind of reminds me of the Men in Black memory eraser.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the neuralizer or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, that's a lot what it looks like. It's like that, but
it's basically just two of those with a hinge on it.
It's so good. It's so dumb, and I want it so bad.
We see later that it literally just looks like. It looks like just two metal pieces on a hinge, but later, I think in a later scene in this chapter, it actually has a hologram screen that comes out if you want.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing is, so the save points, the consoles, when they open up, a little holographic screen comes out from the side of it, and
like the Pokédex.
Yeah. It's a Pokédex OS of sorts.
Yeah, and every time I look at it, there's a start bar, and I always am looking at the icons. I'm like, I want a high resolution version of this so I can see what these icons are.
Yeah.
How cool would it be?
I want high resolution everything in this game because there's so much cool branding and stuff that just got crunched when they had to compress everything.
I would really love it if it was the icons for Lenora's Garage or Up in Arms or something.
Oh, sure, yeah.
What's the new one that we just got? Creature Creations?
Creature Comforts, isn't it?
Creature Comforts, yeah. Have you guys went to that yet?
I have.
The startup screen for it is so good. The logo.
It's with the animal. Is that the one with the animals chirping and shit?
It's like a spooky kind of Halloween looking one. The background is purple with a spooky tree, I think. And the logo kind of looks like the flying spaghetti monster. Speaking of more ancient fucking bullshit from back in the day. But the noises that it makes is really goofy. It's boing, boing.
I do know that sound that you're talking about. Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah, this one says, if it bleeds, you can kill it. If you can kill it, we most likely carry it. Freshly harvested scientific specimens, bushmeat, and organic materials. When you can't wait for nature to take its course, set course for creature comforts.
Hell yeah.
I love the idea of just buying online some animal carcasses.
I mean, people do that.
That's what the caveman used to do.
Listen, if you need
That's what they used to order online.
If you need some animal carcasses, ethically sourced, an old bandmate of mine works on a ranch in Montana and has a very lucrative beef and like lamb selling business.
Cool.
So check out Big Sky Caroline. She introduced an Emmy once, very weirdly.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, she can help. Yeah, power up my guns.
Yeah, I was gonna say she make your guns stronger.
But Snow gets his call, and he's like very nonchalantly like, "Hey, look, they're still like in the sewers or whatever, like in the underbelly of Palumpolum, creeping around."
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, it's me. What's up?"
I like the cool flick that he does to open it. I feel like if anyone had a razor back in the day, they learned how to do a cool flick.
Yeah.
Like I would always flick it to close it and stuff to hang up.
But it Fang's on the other end and just chewing him out.
Tears into him.
I guess he's been on. Well, it's only been like 10 minutes, and
she's like, "Why haven't you called in?" And he's only been gone for a matter of moments.
they ran off together.
I also want to put a pin in that for later.
Okay.
So about it being 10 minutes and people overreacting.
Okay.
But yeah, I just love like it's very comical too in the way that Fang and Snow's interaction is because he has the cell phone up to his ear and she says like, "You know damn well what's up," and he like pulls it away because she's just screaming into his ear. It's real good. Snow says, "Sorry, it slipped my mind," and she's like, "All right, well, what's your status?" Like,
or does she say status?
Status, yeah.
And I love I love the back and forth where he's like, "Oh, I'm great. Yeah, Hope's great too." And she goes, "I'm great, you're great, everybody's great."
Hope's like shaking the knife, ready to kill him, and he's just like, "Yeah, Hope's great. We're best friends now. It's awesome. We're having a great time, dude.
Everything's fine." Yeah.
But yeah, I love like Fang's just like, "I'm great, you're great, everybody's great. All right."
Yeah,
really good.
I love her just super sassy, like just condescending tone she does to everyone.
Yeah.
She doesn't just like eye roll at Snow. She just fucking flings it right back at him.
Yeah.
She hands the phone to Lightning, and Lightning's like, "Hey, Snow," and Snow's like, "Oh, what's up, sis?" And she just goes, "I'm not your sister."
Yeah.
I want to note that in the Japanese script, he doesn't say sis, but he does say sister-in-law. So I think it's
really?
It's more to be more specific, yeah. Which I think he's like, "Oh, you aren't married yet."
I think it's funnier this way.
Makes sense.
But yeah, just calling him sis is much funnier that way.
Yeah, when Fang is handing this extremely weird cell phone to Lightning, she's like, "Oh, like we got to set up a rendezvous point and all of that." But she says, like, Lightning looks a little apprehensive to take the phone, and Fang puts all of her fears to rest by saying, "Don't sweat it. That line's hyper encrypted." Which, as
I wrote that
an
down
IT
too.
professional, hyper encryption is a thing that absolutely, definitely exists.
Hey, it exists at Cocoon. That's why they're so efficient.
That good old pulse tech, yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But we
get a cutaway to some troops assembling, and Roche is addressing them all.
Yeah.
What was Roche's first name again? Yag.
Yarg.
Yarg.
But yeah, one of the GC soldiers. What's GC stand for again?
Guardian Corps.
Guardian Corps.
This city's under our jurisdiction. We're the ones defending it. We should have a say in what's done to protect it.
Attention all units. Ignore all fire zone restrictions. Fire at will.
Yeah. He's on his like little Bluetooth like AirPod or whatever, like kind of speaking to his troops, right? Because he's in charge of SciComm. Yeah, and he just tells them like, it doesn't matter about any of the restrictions. You can fire in civilian areas, like even if you hit civilians, whatever, fuck it, it's fine.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes to kill the Lassie, like all options are on the table type shit, very, very dire. The Guardian Corps, understandably, are not down with that. They have no choice. Like, he's pulling rank on them, but they're, saying like...
They're definitely more vocal than I'd expect from cops. But.
It makes sense, though, given like all the rivalry that we heard about between SciComm and Guardian Corps. And Guardian Corps, like in their name, like, it's a fantasy world, so of course we can put a little more stake into what mottos say or what their names are.
This is Lightning's like party, right? She would be one of these guys.
Their goal, their mission is to be guardians of the civilians and stuff. So they're like, we can't just open fire on civilians. That's like against what we're supposed to be doing. And he's like, I don't give a shit. We gotta do whatever it takes.
He very directly, he's like, look, the citizens are the ones who are asking us to get rid of the Lassie menace. Like, you can fire on them, and as long as you hit the Lassie, like, they won't care. They'll still thank you for it. Like, they're the ones who want this. So just do it.
Yeah, and one of the Guardian Corps soldiers are like, dude, civilians are still evacuating. Like, the collateral we're talking about is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he pulls a gun on him, or he pulls a sword. He pulls a sword on that guy too. So he's like threatening the soldiers to go do their job, right?
He's got a katana. No, it's not a katana. It's like more of kind of a saber.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Really living up to his name, Yarg, with that pirate sword that he's got.
But
exactly, like we're doing them a favor kind of attitude. He seems very like at all costs for the greater good type of energy.
But we cut away back to Lightning and Fang on the phone, right? And they are discussing with Snow what their plan is. And their plan is to meet at Hope's house, right? The Estime home, I guess.
Yeah. Estime is residence. Felix Heights 35A.
742 Evergreen Terrace.
Yeah, that's right.
It was like, right, see you there. Tell Fang hey.
I love that.
Lightning does like a little like just kind of like gesture at the phone as if like it almost looks like she's just like wanking off, but like
And then I like that like Lightning kind of like steps away on the phone for a minute, right? And she like turns her back to Fang a little bit and kind of whispers into the phone and is like, Snow, I need to tell you something. Like, by the way, that kid that you have, he's not your best friend.
Yeah.
And so she tries to warn Snow.
Wait, we skipped over something very important that Snow says to Lightning. He says, like, yeah, when we meet up, I can tell you more about Sarah. I found out she can turn back.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
So, that's a little important, his whole thing.
We can change her.
Yeah, he says there's still hope. And then Lightning's like, Snow, listen to me. It's about Hope. His mother was. And then, like, we start getting some interference. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It goes right to Hope.
I guess Snow handed the phone to Hope. Oh, yeah. Lightning's probably like, it's important. It's about Hope. And Snow's like, she said she wanted to talk to you. Just only hears like one word out of every like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we start getting interference because we do hear Hope say, like, Lightning, it's me. I decided to, and like, I have to, operation, and then at that point they're just gone.
And she's like yelling. She's like, Hope. You're like,
he says, I'm sorry. So I'm guessing that he's like saying, like, I'm gonna
splat this motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to like complete Operation Nora. I'm sorry. Basically, is probably what it says.
Yeah, and Lightning is obviously like
yelling at it.
Yeah, and she's like, Hope, screaming into it. And Fang goes, yelling doesn't fix it.
I love it.
Real IT person energy.
I love that so much.
Yeah, you can chit chat when we get there. I've got point, you fall behind, and see if you can't cool off that head of yours.
Nice. Did you notice what the chapter is called, by the way?
Oh, I did. Something about interference, right?
It's called Interference, and I was like, oh, that's so good.
That's real good. Yeah, but true to her word, Fang has taken point, which means that we are in control of Fang. She's in our party, and we get to use her for the first time. I think you had mentioned this in a previous episode, Curtis, but going from 4 ATB to 3 is definitely takes an adjustment.
I was like, Fang, come on. 3 ATB bars, goodness.
And so she's supposed to be kind of a dragoon type class because she has like the giant like spear thing going on.
She has like a big spear,
her spear, her staff, whatever it is, I love the design of it because it looks like a red, I think they're called ripsticks. They're like the 2-wheeled skateboards that like you have to like alternate back and forth to like surf on the street. Like it just looks like a really long version of that. And it's very cool looking. Also, when you use it in battle, it makes the most hilarious like slapstick ass noises. I was fucking cracking up. Like if we could, I don't know if we can put some of them in, but like it's so goddamn funny. Have you guys heard it?
I didn't notice. I didn't notice.
When you attack with her, it just makes the wackiest noises.
Really?
It's very like it takes you out of it because it just sounds like a cheesy old martial arts movie or something. It's incredible. It's so good.
That's awesome.
I like how you mentioned that she's like the dragoon type. So I'm trying to think of other ones. So like Snow would probably be like the monk, the fighter type because he uses his fists. I guess Vanille would kind of be like the white mage. But I figured out this episode what parallel to older Final Fantasy games Hope has and what his class is. He is the Tonberry class because he is very slowly walking up to his target with a knife ready to deal a critical hit.
Oh, hold on. I wanted to look up the names of the roles in Final Fantasy XIII are different in Japan. Yeah, in Japan, Commando is called Attacker. The Ravager is called a Blaster. The Sentinel is called a Defender. The Saboteur is called a Jammer.
Jammer and a Blaster. Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
The dream team.
Synergist is an Enhancer, which makes sense. I feel like they march clearly, like represent what they do.
Yeah, more of like a literal type of
like
thing.
Like a Jammer debuffs and an Enhancer buffs, I'm guessing. And then a healer instead of a medic.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, makes sense.
Love it.
Cool. So the roles that Fang have are Commando, Sentinel, and Saboteur right now.
I love that she is like ultra aggressive. Like no, I guess like there's Sentinel is like an assistance one, but
I guess if she's supposed to be opposite of Vanille, that would make sense because she's kind of the more Vanille's kind of more of a supportive role.
Yeah,
that's true.
And Fang would be the kind of more headstrong, kind of charging in.
But we can set up some paradigms, and we can set up one that we may not have seen at this point. We can do 2 commandos, which is called Double Trouble, which I love.
Yeah. So
nice.
I did not have a double commando. I didn't set one up actually.
I was doing that. I mean, it kind of doesn't really make sense maybe because I feel like you could kind of do more stuff with like Ravager. And since Lightning's commando, an interesting dynamic that I learned from Zwanzig is if you have Double Trouble, your team will focus on separate targets.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I was trying to, build up chain on an enemy that I wanted to focus on more. And I was like, oh, Lightning's over there fighting this other thing. Maybe I should aim for that one and try to, but I think Lightning will just always alternate to the other one because the
Lightning,
double commando,
damn it.
it's more of like a strategic thing, which kind of makes sense. But if you go into like Ravager commando / and burn, then you can kind of hone in on just one target. But very interesting, really, really fun controlling Fang.
Yeah.
It's also kind of neat that at this section, or for like the rest of the next 2 chapters, Fang only has one Saboteur skill. She only has slow, so, which I thought was very interesting because like that's a whole third of her abilities. And I was like, well, if I was a all-intelligent game designer, I would make that a pivotal part of the sections where you play as Fang, right? And the enemies that you fight as like Fang are fast as hell. So like
and
slow helps a lot.
And if you do the scan, it does say that they are susceptible to slow.
Yeah.
This area I think we're fighting a lot of the core and a bunch of tilters occasionally.
The tilters in this, because like when they're like,
and some of the cycles, I'm not sure if we fight any in this section.
I also wrote it down. Did you see? I thought that the subtype or the subtype for the Velocycles were just called Velocycles, but they are not. I looked up what the name of it is. They're Cognospeeders.
Yeah,
that means they're like cognitive, as in they like have brains.
I wonder.
They have sentience. Yeah. They can feel. They have hopes and dreams.
All Velocycles are Cognospeeders, but not all Cognospeeders are Velocycles.
Why was I programmed to feel pain?
That's the soul that Godot was talking about.
It was a literal soul. Oh my god, dude. I immediately went to the Crystarium and leveled up Fang a little bit. And I got Sloga pretty quickly, and the way that works, I think it takes all 3 of your ATB charges, but it will cast on all of your enemies. It has the same success rate as slow. So when you cast in this game, obviously, if you're trying to, typically in Final Fantasy games, if you have 3 charges or something, you would face it on different enemies. But in this one, you can only face one enemy, so you cast slow like 3 times on an enemy or something like that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't really make sense if it always hit. So there's a percentage chance that it won't get there. So the give and take with Sloga is that it will cover more areas, but you're not guaranteed to get slow on any of the enemies. So if you have a lot of enemies that you're trying to get, it might work out that way. But in this section, it kind of doesn't really work out for the most part, because you can kind of just, throw 3 slow and almost guarantee that you'll get the status that you want.
And like there's the Orions it's useful on, because like when they get to low HP, and these are the
they're
what
the
are they called?
tilter enemies. Yeah.
They have like laser fingers and
when they're in low health, they'll start using like an electric attack, and they can use it very quickly. Like they use it and then again and then again and then again, and they can just like take you down very, very quick.
And again.
But slow really helps for like kind of tempering that when you get them down to low health.
It's also super fun when because both I think Fang and Lightning can learn launch at this time. So just ganging up on a tilter, just like juggling him back and forth.
Fang can also learn Blitz, which I was using, but I'm only used to, Saz and Lightning's Blitz, and I did not actually figure out like where I need the enemies to be to get the Blitz to be effective, and I just kept using it and being like, oh, that only hit 1. Why? And then I was like, oh, right, I don't have enough information here to use it, so I meant to look that up, and then I didn't.
Yeah, she does kind of a spin attack, but like she kind of stabs and then does a twirl instead of just like a link twirl. I'm not sure how much that affects like the actual like area.
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't able to get it to work.
It might not reach as far as like Lightning's.
That definitely seemed like the case,
because she kind of holds it by the middle and not by the end of it.
There's really not much of a section here too. Like the section's pretty short, and it's mostly just like an alleyway or two, right? Like we're not like seeing.
We're in that great space as you mentioned.
Yeah, I think
space, baby.
The area, like the title card actually says, like the back alleys of Palumpolum.
Yeah, we're like we can see balconies over kind of like the air, because Palumpolum is very tiered. It seems like it's in a like built into a valley or on the hillside near like a water body. I'm not sure if we established it was like near a bay or something. But
it reminds me a lot of being on like a very nice college campus, like the way that they'll be very.
That's what I thought when we arrived, when we popped out in the elevator. Like, oh yeah, this looks like where like a school assembly would be. Like,
we're in Princeton.
Graduation's held here, right near Carbuncle. But we do come around a corner and we get another little cutscene as they kind of, scoping out the area.
Right.
Either way, she's scoping ahead, but then Lightning takes a moment to kind of admire her
brand,
her ink,
her fucked up looking brand.
Yeah. So as we mentioned before, it almost looks like the brand that Fang has is like bleached. It's very like white, and
it's kind of bursting like ghostly.
Yeah,
I said it looked like dried toothpaste.
Yeah, that's right. Lightning looks at that and just says, like, "Who are you?"
And Fang's like, "Well, where do I start?" And I like that she says,
"I've got a few screws loose, but I'm a lessee, same as you. Difference being, I wasn't born on Cocoon."
So she reveals she's from Grand Pulse. Yeah. Oh my gosh, an actual Pulse lessee.
Yeah. The world below you all hate so much. My partner and I turned to crystal there and gone to sleep, but when we came around here, we were. So they had completed their focus already.
Yeah, they already completed their focus. And then
but they're back.
She drops the big information we've been looking for the whole game.
The ones that's shocking.
Is. Yeah.
You'll never guess who her partner is.
Right. But she tells us the reason Cocoon is in such an uproar is the same reason you're here now, because Vanille and I woke up. And then you're like, oh, that's the end of the scene. It's really good.
Ooh, what a dump.
I know. So now we learned what Vanille's deal is.
Yeah, as she says that, the camera tilts up and we see more of those like ships or those speeders or whatever flying off towards something else. Yeah, the cognocycles or whatever. So more soldiers being mobilized.
Right.
Yeah, but that's like really explains like confirming that like Vanille and Fang are from Pulse, that like all their behaviors like are Vanille's behavior in the beginning of the game, because I was just kind of rewatching like, oh, like she doesn't know who like the Primarch is. She probably doesn't know what a gun is, because she's like, just give me that. Like, it looks cool.
Right. Like all these weird things about her that make her
or like asking hey, do you know how to fly this? Not because like it's a special thing, but like it could just be something that she's like not familiar with or whatever.
Well,
and the whole bit about, oh, did you fall asleep in history class or something? If what Fang said is true and they were in crystal stasis, we don't know how long that crystal stasis lasts.
Well,
so she might have she might have literally been sleeping through what then became the history that so when she was like something like that, like
it doesn't happen in this scene.
She missed a lot of this stuff, it seems like. She's missing a lot of content. Also, like, just all the times that she's like probing, like, kind of under the radar, like, hey, like, everyone must really hate Pulse, right? Like,
why does everybody hate Lassie so much? Like, why do you hate Pulse so much? And she's like offended by it, and it makes sense because like she's Pulse.
Like really confused. She always seemed really confused, and now we can tell like heartbroken because of just how much everyone just despises.
Yeah, imagine waking up from something and finding out everyone fucking hates you and is mad at you, and you're like, oh, what did I do? I've been sleeping.
I'd go back to bed.
So I was gonna say, we actually do get it's not during this scene, it's actually during a later one, but we'll get to it today. So I don't feel too bad about saying it now. But Fang and Vanille's data logs update, and it says that they were asleep in crystal stasis for hundreds of years.
I figured as much.
Like literal centuries.
I kept checking the data logs to see if Fang's would get updated, but as far as I got, it still just called her the mystery woman or whatever, mysterious woman, and I was like, wonder who this is.
I don't know if anyone's actually said her name out loud yet.
Oh yeah,
I guess. Oh, no, wait, no, but Snow said, hey, tell Fang I said, hey.
Yeah.
I guess that's the first time they mentioned it.
Speaking of Snow, after seeing one of those speeders go by, we actually see, from like Snow's perspective, another one fly overhead, or maybe it's the same one. This is all kind of happening simultaneously in two separate parts of Palumpolum, and Hope and Snow kind of take cover and take a look at what's going on, and there's a lot of civilians that are just
standing around.
Yeah, and
or actually, they're not. Actually, now that I look at it, they're not standing around. They're being led
marched
by guards.
They're getting corralled.
And different, not just it looks like not just Guardian Corps, different uniforms, so probably both PsyCom and Guardian Corps are.
Yeah, I think Guardian Corps is always in yellow, and the PsyCom always has just like the neon
gray.
And everything. They're the more darker looking ones.
Yeah, but Snow says that, the Sanctum follows Fal'Cie orders. It's not just after Lassie. They'll target civilians and purge everyone who's a threat. And Hope says, and more innocents get killed. So Snow says, you can't take the blame for that. Which, kind of start getting tense. Like, oh, you can't take the blame for when someone innocent gets killed.
This is when Hope really starts just like really like snipping back just everything he says. Just like,
because he does
very passive aggressively. Just like anytime someone's pissed off at you, but like we'll just make these little side comments. Just like,
and he does here, right?
It makes sense because
someone has to take the blame.
Snow is really dismissive of it.
To.
Yeah, Snow is really dismissive of it. He doesn't just say, like, oh, you can't take the blame for that. He's just like, hey, you can't take the blame for that. Like, don't beat yourself up, kid. If a couple people die, like the mentality of it is very like fucked, knowing what Hope has against Snow. Yeah.
But I like that when he says
someone has to.
Someone has to take the blame. Yeah.
But Snow, in a moment of redemption, says, we can still save them. We let loose and bring the army to us.
Draw their fire.
Draw their fire, and Hope. Hope's. It seems like he's down with this plan.
Right.
But Snow is like, I'm not gonna. I'm supposed to protect you, but I can't let this happen.
Snow says, it looks like we only have one choice, and he does like his like fuckboy smile and puts his fist up real like triumphantly, and he says, I try to save everyone, which is so fucking Snow, and so like. And like, again, coming from a good place, even if it doesn't always work out that way. And Hope's a little, like put off by that for obvious reasons.
Dude, I love just Hope's facial expressions throughout. Like this section are so good where he's like, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Yep. The only ones who die are dumb as hell.
Yeah.
Not my fault, not my problem.
It's this chapter where it starts kind of hammering the I don't know, the fault of Snow. I mean, we would
Yeah,
kind of get
for
the idea
sure.
with it. Him and Vanille, I kind of see are similar, but they're kind of going in different directions.
Sure.
Like
yeah.
Snow is running, but he's like doing it by kind of charging into danger. To
Yeah,
that's his
yeah.
way of coping with it instead of running away from
Snow
it.
is like passively kind of causing,
He just
like-
wants everything. He wants to fix everything. He's just going to
he-
charge in and do it, like whether or not that's like the right thing to do.
it's the good intentions,
Yeah.
road to hell shit, and he's actively trying to save people, but it's in turn not always working out that way. Versus Vanille,
Yeah.
who we don't really know fully her motivations or anything, but it seems like she has kind of a more active role in what's going on with what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But he's like, so Hope, are you with me on this?
Yeah.
You just need to look out for yourself. Like, he wants to protect Hope. Hope, again, looks really pissed at this.
Dude, his facial expressions are golden. Hope's just like, oh.
It's pretty
seething.
funny, too, just the quick change with this, because then we, now we're in controlling Snow and Hope. Snow is our leader, and a lot of times we'll just have to put Hope in medic and have Hope cure, like heal Snow as he like wants to kill him, but he's like, fuck you, just throwing cures at him. Like,
I really
I'm
like
trying to
this
see
section.
if this has hostile architecture or not, because I'm looking at the benches and it has has one of the middle rails, but it's far enough along that someone could lie down on if they wanted to. So that's something.
I really like this section, because in this section we actually like are around NPCs for like the first time in forever.
Yeah.
And my favorite, I think we've asked this before, like we've like considered this to ourselves, like in the lore, in the logic of the game, do people recognize the Lassie as Lassie because the plot demands it? Because like, you and I wouldn't see their brand, they'd have it hidden, right? So like, what would I know?
Right.
And this answers the question.
There's a few moments throughout this chapter where someone doesn't. They just don't like.
Yeah. Well, this answers the question, because as we go and we fight police officers and Guardian Corps and shit, people around us are just like, what are you doing? Like, you're like, don't you know that there's important shit going on? Like, you should stop fighting with them. That's like really fucked up. And they're just like, hey, stop causing problems. Like, shit's kind of serious right now.
We can't be
Yeah.
fighting the police. The Lassie could be anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We're like fighting these people like to the death, and like, yeah, bystanders are like, is this really the time?
Snow is literally just uppercutting people into the air as they dissolve, and they're screaming, and people are like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's so good.
But as we're running around, there is like an intercom announcement that's just going, talking about like there's a state of emergency that's been declared. Should you
my God.
witness any suspicious activity, please alert the nearest uniformed soldier. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. Swift compliance.
I wrote down, I was like, oh my god, Cocoon has a see something, say something.
Yeah, they really do.
I also love this area because
Oh, it's so good.
I think this is like the first chapter where, I mean, not to like bash the previous areas, but like the fact that it feels like we're going to different parts of the city
Yes.
instead of it just being like we're going along this like corridor that's like like forest themed corridor. Like right now we're like kind of like in a market that's kind of like only has a lot of verticality, and there's like these little like catwalks, and
Yeah,
It's
like
so
fire
good.
escapes and stuff that we can go up, and
it feels like a Disney resort.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
It
yeah.
feels like some sort of level in a Splatoon game. Definitely looks like, Splatville.
Yes, this Museum del Alfacino could be around the corner anywhere.
yeah, exactly. Fuck that map. Actually, no, I like that one.
Yeah, it feels like to me, and again, like you were saying, not to like throw shade at any of the other areas, but I feel like the amount of design work that went into just this area is like the sum of the rest of the areas. Like there's
Yeah.
more
It's
interesting
very
things to
good.
see in every single
Yeah, there's like
scene.
independent shops. There's different. I'm always impressed by the skybox, like because when you look in the distance, like just how detailed the fake city and the
Yeah.
distance is. Because as you're going around the area, you do start seeing it from different angles. And
It's
stuff,
hard
and
to tell. It's hard to tell what's like, for me anyway.
They do a really good job blending like the foreground and the fake background.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
This area is cool also because we're mostly walking along like this kind of redwood boardwalk thing. Mm-hmm. But there's on our left, there's actually multiple different ways to like hop up like on different balconies. So you can just kind of like flank or just completely bypass some of the fights if you
Yeah.
want. And there's
Yeah.
also items hidden up there.
Did you all talk to or discover Bertie?
I did, but before we get to Birdie, I do
Okay,
like
so,
that.
yeah.
I'm interested to kind of try and think about what the NPCs think about all of this. Like, I'm sure they're not stoked that the army has come in and is starting to usher them into, like, obviously they're afraid of the Lassie and they're being told that there are Lassie around. So, you know, maybe they'll feel like protected by them, but they also don't seem too upset with us that we're literally just destroying the soldiers around them.
Yeah,
because like in the first encounter that we can get in, like you take them all out, and then just like there's two NPCs that are just like confused. They're not like mad, but they're just like, what was that all about? Like,
yeah.
And they say, we've got enough problems without you causing more. They're not like, how fucking dare you, you know, like back the blue or anything. They're just like, dude, like things are already pretty tense.
That's
Maybe
what I'm
you
saying.
shouldn't
That's
stir the
what's so
pot.
funny about it.
I love it.
There's also barricades up everywhere. They're kind of a cool design. They look like just they unfold, and they're kind of like of course they keep out, but they look like they're just made of a bunch of just metal, rotating metal.
They have a bunch of the crusty crowd control barriers.
Yeah.
Rusty says, get back.
Oh, there's another, like, there's a little girl sitting on stairs somewhere who says, "Yay, the soldier's not here. I win."
I
so,
saw
like,
that.
They clearly
I was
don't
like,
like the soldiers.
Yeah, there's a man standing by himself who's like, "Oh, I've lost my son. I don't know where he
Where's my
is.
son?
Where's my son?"
I am
And
a
like, I
demon.
like to like. I've played a million RPGs. I get it. You either have to go find the son and bring him back or whatever, or like this kid's gone out or whatever.
Yeah.
I seem to have lost my son. He's always telling me to stay put when we get separated.
I love it. He's always telling me to stay put. And then you find the son, and when you fight some soldiers, and when you come back, he's standing next to his father, and the son's like, "Dad, I told you, like, stop
Don't
running off on
wander
your
off,
own."
yeah.
And I was like, "What?"
He's like, if we get separated, just stay where you are, and I'll come and find you. And he's like, "Sorry, birdie." Like, he's like,
sorry,
he's got his
birdie.
head hung down and stuff. Like, it was very funny.
It was a really good little scene.
I'm sorry. I promise I won't wander off anymore.
If you find the boy first, he does say, "I'm worried about my dad. He always gets distracted and wanders off after the first thing that catches his eye. Why can't you just stay in one place?"
That's so good. There's some other NPCs that, like, you take out some soldiers around, and one of them's like, "Oh, the soldiers all left. Guess everything's okay." Like, they didn't see you beat the shit out of them. But one of the other ones says something interesting that's, don't you find it a little strange that SciComm hasn't told us anything? So I guess they're trying to prevent full panic, and they're just kind of ushering these people along, being like, "No, you have to evacuate. There's a state of emergency. We're not going to be descriptive about it." So that probably also is why, like, the people aren't like fully freaked out, or being like, "Hey, can you like maybe not beat the shit out of the soldiers?" Like,
Well, I was thinking about it. The last time that we saw a bunch of people being herded around because they came into contact with Lassie, they were getting purged. And I was like, I wonder if like the Sanctum will be purging them,
and it was national news where they were saying like, "Oh, the Primarch has said like future purges could happen as the situation unfolds," like, and everyone supports it. Yeah, like 90% of people support it or whatever. So
because it's obvious, at least to us, that like the purge is kind of a fake. It's a conspiracy where everyone's like, we think they're getting ushered off to somewhere like a new home and Pulse or whatever, but they're probably closing off the city because like if a Lassie outbreak happens, they're just gonna get rid of it. They'll purge everyone in the city.
So there's that little bit of like, an extra dark undertone there.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's other reason, like, well, we don't want people coming in and out because then Lassie could just slip out with them or whatever.
Yeah, but we make our way to not like a back alley, but like a less populated, I guess, walkway. And another cutscene begins.
There's some really cool, like, I love like this beautiful kind of, there's a kind of a wavy section where you can kind of bypass a bunch of soldiers, like this beautiful kind of ornate.
It's very
walkway.
lovely.
And all the different kind of architecture through this area is great. But yeah, you do come up on a plaza, and I think we
get a cutscene.
Yeah, we get a cutscene. I think it's like it's a kind of a bigger market than we've been in, I think, prior.
Yeah, it leads out into a larger, like a market or plaza. Yeah, and there's a crowd of people all standing around, and there's like armed guards nearby. I didn't know if it was clear if they're like being kept there or not by these guards, because the guards don't seem to be like surrounding them. But
yeah, it's not like hostile. It's just kind of like, this is where they corralled everyone.
Yeah,
they focus on this girl with like a cute little like.
It looks like Carbuncle from another game from like 8 or something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like Carbuncle or like a weird Moomba.
Oh,
type
cute.
thing.
Do they have so this is like Mickey, it's Carbuncle the Mickey Mouse of this one.
I wish Mickey Mouse fed people.
Probably gift shop we missed at the Carbuncle.
Actually,
tour.
that would make sense. Carbuncle's underneath this city.
Yeah.
So it
He's
makes
like
sense.
their mascot. So this is basically, so Gritty is the Philly Falsey. And of course he is the
Don't
the
get
Falsey
too
of,
close to Gritty though. He will make you a Phyllis C.
So of course we all know that the Gritty Falsey is the Falsey of fun, of hockey, and of mischief.
Yeah. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, all of the athletes turned to crystal.
He also lived under the Wells Fargo Center, which is
He did.
official. That's the official lore.
That's the official lore, is that he just, for those who don't know, Gritty is the mascot for the Philadelphia Flyers. You've probably seen him. He became one of the biggest sensations just in the world because of how fucking horrifying he is. But when they announced him,
a leftist icon.
I think it was in 2018 or something when they introduced Gritty. They were like, "Oh no, Gritty's always been here. He's been living under the Wells Fargo Center for as long as probably even before it was built. He has just been here." So,
it's basically the beginning of Power Rangers, the Rita Repulsa.
Well, he was in a vestige. He was in a vestige underneath.
He was in
the
a
Wells
crystal
Fargo.
stasis.
Yeah, he was no longer needed in a previous time. But yeah, so Snow is, I think, evaluating the situation where he's like, okay, as long as Big is going to go down, but there's all these bystanders around.
This is the best fucking snow scene yet.
EDA.
After nothing but good snow scenes, in my opinion. Because all of these civilians are around. They're all just kind of chilling.
This plan
all just
actually works
relaxing.
out, and it's cool. Yeah.
A soldier just kind of, an armed soldier with his big fucking gun just turns around and looks at Snow, and Snow walks in, and again, they don't recognize them.
They don't know.
Just think they're in a civilian.
It's weird that this one soldier doesn't recognize us as a LaCie, even though every other soldier we've come into contact with is
I
immediately engaged.
wonder if they
it's
do they
also
all see
their
us as a
Guardian
LaCie?
Corps.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point.
They're Guardian Corps, so maybe SciComm hasn't briefed them on that yet.
Yeah, Guardian Corps hasn't attacked us because we're LaCie. They're just that guy keeps getting into fights.
Yeah, I want to say
there's a menace.
There's a 6'7" dude running around uppercutting all of my friends to death. I'm gonna steer clear of him. But so this guy just turns around
or maybe they're just trying to round us up and we're just not complying.
Yeah. They think we're
they
citizens.
don't even see us as LaCie. Maybe
I got the impression that they just assume we're also Palumpolum civilians.
Yeah.
But this soldier just turns around and he's like, "Is there a problem?" And he says, "No, why don't you just come down?" And as he's saying that, Snow just walks up to him and fucking punches him, punches his lights out, and then picks up his gun.
He atomizes this man.
Yeah, he ends
his
this man's
fist.
whole career. But everyone's obviously freaked out and they're all backing up. Snow picks up the gun, just thinks to himself for a second, points it in the air, and just says, "I am a pulse LaCie. I'm here to kill all of you." And he just fires into the ceiling. And
I am a beautiful animal.
I am a destroyer of worlds. Yeah, but he empties the clip and just throws the gun down and hopes dude, what the fuck are you doing?
And everybody runs away, importantly.
Everyone's, getting the fuck away from there. And Snow just says, "I'm clearing the area." It really worked out. And just as that's happening, we see a new type of enemy kind of flying in and opening fire on us.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen these types in Hanging Edge, but these are the souped up version. The jetpack dudes.
Yeah. They're very goofy looking. Very, very they look like SciComm guys, but wearing the weird vests that the grunts in Halo have, the weird pointy backs that they have. But they're flying around and they're flying towards us. And again, if it was known,
they were half of a Cognocycle on the back.
Yeah. This plan works because they're opening fire and their direct orders from their commanding officers: open fire on anything.
They're just firing blindly into the square because here we're here. So
yeah,
and Snow's they would have just opened fire on this whole crowd if we didn't just get them out of here.
Yeah, it was quick thinking.
Yeah,
doesn't matter who dies, just wipe them all out. Says
So these enemies.
It's interesting too that it seems like Hope is still pissed for obvious reasons and stuff, but it's you should see you should be getting more of a feel for Snow's character. I know that you're grinding this axe or grinding this knife or whatever, but
the axe is going to be worn down to a nub.
He is trying his best to save everyone, and he just did something that actively saved lives.
Yeah.
instead of the whole Nora thing where everyone's like, all right, come fight with me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, everyone get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so these enemies are a little tricky.
They're called SciComm aerial snipers.
Yeah. They took a little while to take down for me. And having 3 of them right off the bat is pretty tough.
It is. That's
it's not like overwhelming, but
they have an attack that's incredibly annoying called the MLRS volley, which like it shoots like little tiny rockets at you.
Little baby rockets.
And they don't do much damage, but they stun you for like a second or so. Just long enough for the second rocket to hit you, which stuns you for a second or so. Just long enough for the third one, and it happens like 5 times.
And so, in my experience, they always aimed that shit directly at Hope, and I was like, Hope's my medic, I need him.
But yeah, it's very annoying when they start doing that, because you're always like, oh, I'm almost done with them, and then you have to wait several seconds for the fucking volley to end.
Yeah, and also since they're wearing like the weird Velocicle, like fucking, you know what? They look like the one form of Frieza where his head's like really long in the back. Like that's kind of what they're shaped like. But you can't launch them because they're already hovering, so that's also annoying, especially when they can kind of stun you. But
is there like an unlaunched, like a body slam type of thing?
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of that, there's not really, but I did want to talk about, and just like point out one really interesting thing about Snow's last attack. Something interesting that we've kind of touched on is like Lightning, when she does her last attack after she has 4 ATB bars, she does like a backflip and then shoots them, right? And it's like a ranged attack. Snow has a overhead like 2-fisted slam that he does as his last attack, which has the shortest hitbox of all time. So like if the enemy moves at all, it will miss. But it does. But it's good though. It's like a good damaging attack that he does as his last one. And it usually works out, but on these guys, because they're so fast, he like is always missing that overhead slam at the end. And I'm always like, God damn it!
The Donkey Kong Smash Brothers move.
Yeah, the thing I used to do when I was too young to know how to play, and so I would just do the Donkey Kong Smash to win matches.
Hell yeah!
But yeah, I will say something interesting about like again, we've talked a little bit about how every character's attacks are different, even if they're the same attack. So like Saz's Blitz is very different than Lightning's Blitz, etc., etc. Snow's Ravager is really interesting, I thought, because it has a very long time from the time he begins his animation until the magic actually hits the enemy. But his initial animation is very, very fast. And so you can throw that last magic and you can switch to a new paradigm like a second or so earlier than most other Ravagers, because the magic is just going to take a longer time to actually hit the enemy. So you get like a little bit faster paradigm switching with Ravager Snow.
Yeah, I noticed in this chapter that it was very easy to, it could be because like Hope was getting staggered by those missiles or whatever, but it was very easy to just keep a continuous chain of magic with like Ravagers like back and forth. Or like Commando, where it would be like Snow finishes up his and then jumps back and starts reloading his ATB, as Hope then keeps the chain going by getting off his floor, and then by the time Hope is done, Snow has his again, so he can kind of keep going, and it like a really good like flow and cycle with that. Like that really kicked ass. But we kind of get through all of these enemies. There's a couple more of them. There was a weird one where there was 3 more. I was like, I don't want to fight 3 more of those guys. So I ran ahead, and then one of them like caught up to me because they can close the distance pretty quickly. And I got into a fight with 2 of them, and I was like, oh, okay. So I took down the 2 of them, and it was no problem. And then I just went and killed the other one. And a lot of these guys,
I know the one you're talking about too, because that kind of happened to me as well.
Yeah, a lot of these guys will drop credit chips or incentive chips.
Yes.
And the incentive chips, if I remember correctly, I think they're 2,500 gil a piece, and then the credit chips are 500 a piece. So this is the first time in the game.
40,000 gil now.
Damn, I have like 14,000 or something, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm in the money.
Yeah, it's real good. We eating good tonight.
Yeah, but we do eventually get to a point where we get another cutscene.
Yeah, we turn left and start going down an alleyway.
Yeah. Like a large alleyway.
Yeah, we see this nice ornate arch, which for some reason says Felix 25 on it.
Oh,
okay.
Really?
Felix Heights.
Oh yeah.
35A.
So we're on our way to Felix.
We're just a block
Heights.
away, dude.
So I'm guessing it's like a borough
or maybe
district
10, probably 10 blocks.
this is the section. Seeing that sign in this alleyway is when I wrote, "Oh, it's Splatsville," because it reminded me of like the alleys in Splatsville.
It was like right before that in the last like plaza area that we were kind of in, where one of the signs was hanging above there, and I was like, that just looks like a Splatoon shop. Like that's cool as hell. Can buy some stickers from Harmony or something.
Harmony works there, yeah.
Felix 26. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're closing in on I guess the right neighborhood.
Yeah, we're like 10 or 9 city blocks away from where we need to go.
But coming down an alleyway, we pass by some trash cans, and Hope notices that girl with the carbuncle plushie. And understandably, like, she is completely terrified.
She's horrified,
and
he tries to console her, and he reaches out and he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And as we see this, we see a bunch of, what you would call a mob.
An angry mob.
An angry mob. They're holding really weird instruments to use against us. Like, one of them...
Sir, you have an angry mob here? Do they have an appointment?
Yeah,
one of them...
yes. I phoned ahead.
One of them looks like a candle, dampener or putter outer, whatever the fuck those things are called. Like, I had to use those as an altar boy when I was like in church, where you hold it up to a candle to put it out.
Gonna put Hope's candle out.
Yeah, but they're... the situation's getting tense. The girl is so afraid of Hope that she throws her, her plush at him and says, "Leave me alone." And then everyone's like, "Lassie scum, oh, save the girl,"
Yeah.
Protect Cocoon.
There's a lot of like non-subtitled dialogue here of them being like, "You will see scum. We'll protect Cocoon from you." Yeah.
It's basically the beginning of Bloodborne when you're in Yharnam. Get away, terrible scum! Like, this is a damn curse. But yeah, she like charges ahead and pushes Hope and then runs towards the crowd for safety, but she leaves her plush behind.
Right.
There's a guy who says "save the girl" and it sounds like Squidward. Sorry. Save the girl.
Yeah, but the girl gets to her mom, and her mom holds her and says, "It's okay, like you're okay now." And the crowd starts kind of making their way towards them, and they want to kill them. Snow like sees the situation. He's like, "Oh, great!" Like, his plan, while good, has backfired, and now they're, they don't realize what's actually going on, so they're trying to kill us. And
he's like searching for a way to dissolve the situation without harming anybody, right?
Yeah, and he puts up his arm, and his brand kind of starts glowing, like he's getting ready to use some magic, and he looks up and he sees that cool Splatoon sign that Curtis saw, and he just aims an ice attack right at it and throws it, and it falls down to the ground and separates us from the crowd, and it is an impassable waist high amount of debris. So.
Well, I mean, like, having played classic Final Fantasy games, I know that even a slight bump means you have to find a way around.
It's true. I was watching Ninny's, friend of the show, play Golden Sun on stream the other day, and he was playing through the beginning where you're like trying to walk around the first town in the game, and like boulders keep falling because there's like an eruption and stuff. And one of them, like, you're walking down the stairs and a boulder just lands at the base of the stairs, and it's like, "Oh, we can't go this way." And it's like, I mean, you could just like, it's at the bottom of the stairs. You can just get to the last stair and then walk it down, like walk to the side of it, like no problem. But
well, so this arch that has fallen now, like, it slows them down, which, like, okay, now what?
It slows them down, but it also intimidates them because they're like, "Oh shit, that was magic. Like, we don't stand a chance against them. Like, we can't fight that. Like, let's get out of here."
Yeah, we don't stand a chance. And Hope gingerly puts the carbuncle like on the art, like on the debris, and just says, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
But then the silence is broke because Psycom just starts busting through the crowd.
Yeah, Psycom always busting,
eager to shoot something because they just say like, "Stop them! Empty those clips!
Empty those clips!
Empty those clips!"
Luckily, they
running into a crowd screaming that, like, I get it, game.
Like, luckily, they're not opening fire until they get through the crowd. Even though
they're unlike real police officers in that way.
Yeah. So they just kind of start opening fire on Hope, who's still there. But luckily, Snow grabbed one of those like peripherals that those snipers were wearing.
I just looked at the scene a couple times to make sure that like did this come from anywhere? It did not. Snow just now has possession of this.
Yeah,
it's from nowhere.
magic.
Probably one of the guys he uppercut and they just like they crashed into this alleyway or something.
While all of this was going down and Hope was bringing the carbuncle plush to the girl, Snow ran ahead, murdered another man, and took his thing. And then it's a very silly and goofy scene because he's just got this ridiculous jetpack thing. He's not wearing it; he's just holding on to it.
Like, use a life jacket, like completely wrong.
To be perfectly clear, it's one of the jetpacks from the SciComm aerial snipers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got the fins. It's got the green glowy bits, but they're just like crashing up the straight up.
Yeah, because he's not wearing it, so it's just going up, and he's just kind of like, well, whatever.
It's grinding metal against the wall. He's kind of sometimes walking up the wall to kind of direct it the right direction, while
pushing
he's like,
his feet off the wall to make it aim at the other wall.
I don't know if we mentioned that, like he's using this to fly forward and he grabs Hope, but I have a really funny like just still image here of paused of the game when he's doing this, when they're like, empty those clips, and it's just Snow with his arm out. It looks like he's like doing like a WWE like off the turnbuckle fucking like clothesline onto Hope. It's like, it's really goofy. But yeah, he grabs Hope and then, you know, they make their way up to the rooftop very, very precariously. It's pretty cool. He kicks off of the wall at one point. Yeah, he kicks off the wall at one point, but then like kind of bangs it into the wall behind them, so it's like kind of damaging it and stuff.
Yeah, and we're on the roof of something.
Yeah. The scene fades out, fades in, and immediately we just see that the jetpack is destroyed.
Yeah, Snow is really good at vehicles.
It's not very destroyed. It looks fine, honestly.
Yeah, actually,
we did see like what looks like the mechanized part of it that like is controlling it all, like the wheel at the bottom of it or whatever, where everything seems to be like culminating. We did see that it slam into the wall and like scratch up a bit. So
yeah, the tail rotor or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a save point here. So
okay, I'm gonna use that save point. I'm gonna take a little shopping trip and go to Lenora's garage.
Yeah, maybe time's a wasting.
Time's a waste. Get some magical moments, and you know, I'll be back after I do a little shopping.
Cool.
I wonder if they have Uber Eats on that thing. Snow kind of looks like Street Fighter VI Ken Masters a little bit. But he has like the bandana on, right? Like Snow does. So we don't see what the kind of like top of his hair is like. And I assume that it's like Street Fighter VI Ken Masters where it just goes downward, right? And like, that's fine. That's a good look. That's a good way to look. And then I just remembered what Lightning Returns Snow looks like. And I was like, I wish they would have kept this fucking bandana on. It's way cooler.
I'm just imagining that he has male pattern baldness, and that's why he wears the bandana.
If I remember right,
it's gonna be the look I'm gonna be rocking in a couple years.
I think he has like one of these like power mullets. Like I gotta look it up.
Dude, that sounds good as hell.
I think I do remember.
I'm down for a power mullet. That's where he stores all his power.
That's why.
In
he's
that
so
one,
strong.
it's not.
He's like
his weapon's not his coat. In that one, it's his hair. His mullet just when he gets a Super Saiyan 3 length mullet, he deals quad 9s with every punch.
Oh, you know, it's not as bad as I thought. Never mind, it's fine.
Well, good to know he survives this game.
Good to know he survives this next scene that's coming up.
Guess Hope fails.
I just want y'all to know that I just clicked the wiki article for Snowvilliers ++, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the fuck happens in Lightning Returns? What is going on?
It's like Dragon Ball GT. It's not canon, but they add new forms to it.
++.
Yeah, there's Snowvilliers Plus and
language.
++. Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, look at that! Wow.
Yeah, what is going on here?
Have you played those games?
I've played 13 too, but not Lightning Returns. And like 13 too, there's enough of like what the fuck is going on, but like it seems like that game goes real off the rails in the third one. So we'll see.
I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at the A pose of it. Well, we'll get there when we get there, I guess.
I suppose so.
But anyway, we're at Snowvilliers minus, you might say, because we're just at the vanilla
Snow
one.
Prime.
Yeah, Snow Prime.
Snow Prime.
But he's kind of making his way along this like roof that we're on.
I love this area so gosh darn much.
This particular area is always very funny to me because it's probably why people may complain. Is like we open up in the cutscene, we're on the roof, and Snow says, "We gotta stay ahead of him. We walk from here," and then you walk like maybe 50 yards, and then another cutscene starts.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you just ask like, do you want to save, and then shows the thing? But like,
Hey, it's for the immersion.
My immersion.
It's a very immersive game, dude.
Ow, my immersion.
But yeah, so we kind of walk forward and we're making our way along the path, and Hope
we're still on the roof,
like,
right?
Yeah, Hope kind of just like sits down and seems like he's, understandably like just exhausted after being clotheslined by Snow and then whipped up into the fucking directly up.
I love to be lined and whipped.
He got Spider-Man'd up.
Yeah, but Snow kind of just points in a general direction and says, Felix Heights is that way, right?
We are in Felix, and that way is up, so...
Yeah. He turns around and looks at Hope, and Hope is kind of just like not responsive at all. He's just,
Snow's trying so hard.
He's trying his best. He doesn't know what's wrong with this kid, He can't get through to this kid for some reason, but he will.
He does seem like he's like a
substitute
he's
teacher.
like a youth pastor trying to like
You know who
turn
else
his
had a
chair
pretty radical focus that he needed to complete? Takes out an acoustic guitar and just starts playing like a C chord. But yeah, he's like, still pretty far. And we get a shot of like a cool like billboard.
It's a cylindrical billboard.
Yeah.
It's like a marquee, I'm guessing, that rotates.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of those digital billboards that, changes over time, I'm sure. There's
Felix
like
Heights
silhouettes. There's a silhouette of like a family, it looks like as if they're like Smash Bros characters that haven't been unlocked yet. Like Challenger.
A new challenger approaches. Yeah.
And Snow just reads it and he says, "A great place for family living." Again, whoops. And he says, "Oh, so they say." And he turns around at Hope again, who is not
still not. Yeah.
Yeah, he says,
I'm like making sure it actually says great, because hold on a sec.
Oh, are you translating the sign?
Yeah, translating it. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, family living. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry.
Nice. Cool.
Never mind. He did not lie. It's not like it's not like Waka on the reading the scroll on the wall and actually says the subtitles say something different than what's actually written on the
wall. we blame that on the localization team.
No, I blame that on Waka.
But yeah, talking about family living, Snow says that, it looks like it actually might be, huh? And Hope is like, yeah, well, Lassie don't have a family. Snow turns around and is like, listen to me, kid. I'm an orphan. I barely got to know my family. But someday, I'm going to have my own. Once I save Sarah and protect Cocoon, and Hope just like is fucking done.
I love it.
Yeah.
How exactly? That's what Hope says.
Yeah, and Snow's like, yeah, that's a good question. I want to do what's right, but everyone hates Lassie. Kind of hard to help someone who's trying to kill you. If these people had their way, they would be digging a knife right into my heart right now.
But he says, yeah, everything will work out.
It can be a little cutthroat,
He says everything will work out in the end. We just have to hold on to Hope. And Hope like stands up real quick and goes, "We don't have any." Mm-hmm. And then we hear gunfire.
There's some Velocicycles and frickin' those
Cognis speeders. We don't know that these are Velocicycles.
After he says we don't have any, he says something extremely emo, which is a Lassie's only hope is a quick death.
Oh, that's right.
I guess that's more goth than emo.
Yikes.
In this
or
section,
metal. It's pretty metal if he wasn't such a little baby.
In this section, I was like identifying with Snow on this and being like, "Oh, you fucking kid."
Yeah. This, I mean, like I get it. And again, I mentioned I would put a pin in it of judging people for like 10 minutes of time, passing by. But yeah, like I'm also kind of getting worn out on Hope, where I'm like, yeah, I get it, I understand, but come on, dude, like.
I mean, I get it. I feel like
he's grieving,
right,
so we have to, yeah.
Yeah. But at this moment,
the
Cognis speeders and the aerial snipers are being a little extra because they just start coming straight.
They're being a little extra.
They shoot the fucking billboard that says a great place for family living.
Yeah, why would
it's
they
like
do
100
that?
yards away from us. And
Subtext.
it's just like,
subtext out the window. It's like, oh, you know what's destroying all these great places for family living? The Sanctum and Psychom. Like,
The Cognospeeder just hates families.
but yeah, then we get control again, and we see those guys making their way to us. We can try and avoid them, or we can hope actually like just kind of runs ahead. But
yeah. I love the architecture of this section so gosh darn much. This is the area where I'm always like, I play up to this area and then I stop playing because this is like the best screen in the game in my opinion. I love it so much.
Yeah,
because like we're in some like access tunnels, but they're accessible from the outside, right? Like they're not enclosed.
They look like during events, like I was saying, it reminds me almost like navigating around a stadium or something.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt as well, Alex.
Like I always do, I turn around and go for this item, but this item basically baits you because you immediately get flanked by this Falco Velocicle or something, right?
Yeah.
What happened exactly? What happened exactly when you went for that item? Because a weird thing happened to me.
I went towards the item and I like heard something, like I saw the little thing like, oh, something like detected me, but I don't see anything happening.
Yep. Same thing happened to me. I got the item and then I saw on my mini map just like a woo, like just floating around like up to me was like the red dot of the enemy.
I almost gamed over on this because I was fighting this. Is a Falco Velocicle, I guess?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this the one with Gatling gun?
Yeah,
I think this is one of the ones that has Gatling gun, yeah.
Well, before we get into the fight.
For me on this fight, I want to talk about it really quick. My battle duration was 27 seconds.
Ooh.
Because I somehow opened the chest before it got to me, even though it detected me the same thing. I got the Shaman's Mark, which is what you get from this chest, and it flew into me. It zipped up. You can see it on my mini map. And I don't know how I did this, but I ended up getting a preemptive strike on it. I immediately staggered it, and it took me 27 seconds to take it down. The target time is 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
What I was going to say about that is that when I went for that item, I ended up opening the item chest from like kind of behind the item, and the enemy's actual pathing doesn't let him go that far, and so like he like came right up to my face, and it like is in the animation that's driving forward, but then I was able to like walk up to it even though it's like trying to aim at me, but it's at like the limit of how far it can go. So like it's just like sitting there perfectly still just trying to scream at me, and I'm just like, oh well, I can just walk around him now.
That's
like,
so
he can't
funny.
reach me, but I ended up running into him anyway. But I didn't get the preempt.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. That was extremely funny, though. But
that's incredible.
We kind of make our way down to the other side of it. And
can we talk about Gatling gun?
Sure.
Because I would like to talk about Gatling gun.
Yeah, this thing was a beast. Like, it just kept, like, I actually had to revive Hope twice in my first encounter with one.
Yep.
So these guys are not too bad most of the time. They attack a lot, but they're not too dangerous until they start prepping Gatling gun. And that will just kill a member of your party through like a 1,000 cuts or whatever it does.
Yeah,
like,
this is the Cactuar of this game.
yeah.
It's the 1,000 needles.
It does. I like maybe 70 damage per hit, but it hits like 30 or 40 times, right?
It's
and it just sits there and sprays. So like this is like, oh, you have to provoke and sentinel like to get through it. Like that is the only way to get through it.
I did not fight it long enough to get Gatling gun here, but later on we fight one in a pairing, like in a dual battle with another type of enemy that takes a while to kill, and that was a thing where I got game over like twice, and I was like, oh, the only way, like I had Snow is at a point for me with his HP where if he has 900 HP, it shows that he's like in danger because like percentage wise he has a lot, and I think he was at pretty high health and just got Gatling gun, and I just watched his HP melt away and just got a game over. I was like, oh shit.
You know what? Now that I think about it, very interesting. So you're right. Snow has a shit ton of HP, and so it makes sense for him to be a good sentinel, right? Because he can like sit there and just tank damage all day. Did you ever try Fang's sentinel?
I did, yeah. I used it a little bit.
Interesting, because Fang does not have the HP that Snow has to be able to just sit there and tank all day. But she has two things that Snow doesn't have, which is Medigard. So instead of Steel Guard, she uses Medigard, which actually heals her as she's guarding. It gives
her like a regen as she's guarding, so she takes less damage. I think it's not as good defensively as Steel Guard, but the entire time the damage is happening, she's recovering HP, so it works out being a little better.
And she has Evade, which ups her evasion immensely. So while you're in Sentinel, even if you're not doing your guard, your evade goes up by, uncountable amount. It's a huge amount. I should look at how much, but...
Is evade something that you have to unlock in the Crystarium, or is that just she already has it?
I think so.
I don't know if I have that yet or not, or if it's like launch where it's a passive ability that I just didn't notice.
I know that because what I usually do when I get a bunch of Crystarium points or a new Crystarium section, I just go for the abilities first. Like I don't worry about anything else. I'm just like I go right to them so I can get those. So I had it at this point, but I don't remember if she comes with it or if you have to actually go learn it.
Yeah.
But it is useful though because like a lot of times I'll have used up all my Metaguards and her ATB is charging, and then something like Gatlin happens, and she just boop, the evade skill pops up, and it just doesn't do any damage.
With Snow using Provoke and Steel Guard, you can pretty much just block all of the Gatling gun hits. Like literally just block it with Steel Guard where it doesn't hit you at all, which is literally necessary. Like if you see it start doing Gatling gun, you just have to switch to Sentinel right away and hope you can get the Steel Guard up.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I think if you're in Sentinel, you have enough defense as well to where you can survive it. But if you're like in Commando or Ravager, you just game over.
I think you could probably tank one without the guards. Still advisable to use guard if you have time to throw it up. But I think you could probably tank one with Snow,
There's a couple of cool treasure chests just kind of around here. Like we're kind of making our way along this like stadium or whatever, and then there's like catwalks or
we sneak around billboards too.
Yeah, like behind billboards, like on,
I love
not
it so
catwalks,
much.
But like
I've said on a VG draft before that my favorite world in any like Mario game or platformer is always the air world. It's because I love heights in video games, and so I love walking through all these like catwalks, stories and stories above the city and behind these billboards, and like it's my two favorite things. It's gray space and an air stage at the same time.
These billboards are really cool too. They're very like cyberpunk, where they're they're like digital billboards that we have but look cooler because
who's that guy? There's just a guy on a billboard.
Maybe he's like a newscaster or something from CNN.
I for the listener, I just showed a picture of like one of the billboards in the game, and then there's just like a very like
dapper looking man with a long blue tie, I guess.
I should have dumped the textures in here. I did recognize the Infoma poster.
Yeah, I did notice that as well.
Yeah.
There's also like a weird like baby bottle looking drink. Oh, that's Shout.
Shout, baby.
Oh yeah.
Shout, drink it all down.
But yeah, there's some like cool like logos and stuff that again just look like Splatoon logos of like clothing brands or whatever, or stickers that you put on your locker.
Yeah, there's a lot of little catwalks. Like we're on the roofs now, but we also see like rails, I guess, like for transporting either utility or like public transit or whatever. There's like sets of rails everywhere.
So we can get a couple items like material, like 3 thrust bearings, and we can also get a new weapon for Hope, which is the Vidofnir.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I changed to it. I forget what the difference is for that. It gives you more defense maintenance, but since I have like a level 5 of my other weapon, I kind of just kept that.
I didn't switch to that.
Yeah, so
not until you like, upgrade it.
Yeah.
It's at the point now where when you get something new, it's like it's still level 1, and you're just like, well, I'm already using this one.
I've already dumped so much into it. I think I accidentally later on in this chapter when we're playing as Fang again, I had a lot of materials, and I was like, let me try and see if I can get to the ×3, which you can get, and I had some good materials to use on that. So with Fangs, I immediately went with her weapon from level 1 to level 15, and I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm just married to this weapon for her now for the foreseeable future. And
awesome.
as I was doing that, Zwanzig actually told me that at this point in the run, they have like 4 characters with like a fully upgraded power wrist, and they have like level 20 weapons for like 4 of them. Like
I keep forgetting to upgrade my accessories, not just the weapons.
yeah. But like previous guest Corey has said, you can get through just fine without upgrading at all if you want to. So, you know, it's just choose your own adventure, I guess.
I didn't have enough organic material at this point. Like I've run out completely. So until we start fighting some more monsters, like I'm pretty much just not upgrading.
Yeah. We're walking through a bunch of catwalks. It is hard to avoid some encounters here. This is where I got into the what's it called, the Falco Velocicle and the aerial sniper fight, which just
that's a tough fight.
That taught me how to, like, that was tougher than like boss battles that I've fought like recently. I was like, Jesus Christ, like
I think I died on that one too.
Yeah, just kept getting Gatling gunned, and then I was like, oh, okay, I know what the game's telling me now.
You got gat.
Interesting. I'm seeing someone else has evade. I didn't notice, but I just saw it pop up in this fight for me.
Oh, okay.
So if it was Hope, he wasn't fucking using it because he kept dying.
I was saying maybe Snow has it.
Yeah, Snow might have it as well, depending on how far along you are in the Crystarium.
Which I will say, like, for Snow, when I got him back in the party, and he has, like, the fucking 30,000 Crystarium points or whatever, like, I just maxed his Crystarium out, so I haven't been leveling him up at all, because every time I go check, I'm just like, oh, he's still full.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, Snow does have evade, because he hops out of the way, and it says evade, so I guess that's just a passive skill, just like
cool.
Just like launch.
Yeah, it comes in handy a lot.
There's another billboard. It almost looks just like a poster on the wall. It's like a red one with like a sexy lady like silhouette.
Ooh.
Sitting a little provocatively. It's just the silhouette, but
in my Palumpolum, I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought this was a good place for family values.
Yeah.
There is a chest that you can find. Like it's again, since we can operate off of the mini map, there's a lot of like obvious paths that are dead ends that you're like, there's gonna be a chest at the end of this. And this is where I got like ambushed by that difficult fight, but it was worth it because at the end of the pathway here, there was a chest that had 2,000 gil in it.
Let's go.
So I'm like, I'll fight 10 of those fucking things for that. I was running down the catwalk and trying to avoid the fight with one of the aerial snipers and like just running around it. But again, they're super mobile. So he was able to get into the encounter with me. But when he did, and it started triggering like the animation to zoom in and show like that it was starting, it just like kind of hung there with him like getting ready for the battle and Snow being like, oh, I got caught by surprise. But it's him holding his gun like up to the back of Snow's head. And I'm just like, so he would have won. Like that's just like game over. Like
that's as
wins.
Preemptive strike as you could have.
Yeah, there's no getting around that. I'll send you guys a picture of it because it's very funny.
But yeah, either way, we kind of make it across these like, I guess, tracks and access like catwalks, utility platforms, or whatever. We're in Riviera Towers. That's the area we're in.
Yeah.
We come out of an alleyway and into this like square, and then a cutscene begins.
Yeah.
Kind of a viewing spot where someone can kind of just come hang out.
Right.
Pretty wide and open. Which doesn't, in most of these games means there's probably a fight going to happen.
Right, yeah. But yeah, as they're walking, Hope is like, Snow, I wanted to ask you something. You were saying you wanted a family, but what if they were taken from you? And like, what would you do? And he's like, well, I'd go take them back.
Take them back.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, well, what if you couldn't? And what if you knew who was responsible for it? And he's like, oh, I guess there'd be trouble then.
Yeah, it's getting really tense. Hope is obviously very like he's finally,
he has an answer for everything.
He's finally gotten his confidence to do what he has been wanting to do.
Yeah, I feel like he's trying to get those like final answers. Like if he's gonna kill Snow, he's like getting the
final answers. You got one more chance to not
him.
be a dipshit, dude.
Yeah. Like, do you have a good reason for all this? Like, what is your answer for everything you put me through? Right?
Did we talk about how it starts where he's asking if Hope's okay? And what
he says? He does go, did you hit your head or something?
Like he's like really goofy, like Looney Tunes ass like animation, arms crossed, like trying to get different like angle views of him and stuff.
That's
like,
a very anime thing too. It's
yeah, exactly.
Like, sometimes just has the hands behind his head, just like not worrying about a damn thing. And
yeah,
but yeah, like we're immediately interrupted by this.
By what? What are we interrupted by exactly?
We are interrupted by Asuka's Ava unit, but it has wings that are flapping. We're interrupted by the Hellkite Drake from fucking Dark Souls 1.
I feel like this game, like, per enemy capita, has the most, like, indescribable beasts or whatever. Like most Final Fantasies, I can be like, oh, it kind of looks like this, but 13 is just like, every time we fight a boss, it's just like, well, it's a giant mass of steel and flesh, and there's really no way to describe what it is.
I feel like the designer's just like, I have all these extra Gundam parts. Here's some glue.
Yeah.
they're all just kit bashed together. Yeah.
It looks like if you took the Ragnarok.
It's like a tilter, but like the digi evolution of a tilter.
Yeah.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the Precepts guard, or what was it called? The guard is the FF10 too. In Final Fantasy X, the guy who we fight in Xanarkand on the 6 different platforms around him.
Oh yeah, the Sanctuary Guardian or whatever.
Yeah.
I only know that because that's the name of a boss in Dark Souls, and I was like, oh, I might have just also named it incorrectly. But yeah, it looks
tilter adjacent because of just kind of how buggy it is, but it's quite large. It can flap. It has a halo.
It has a big like steel halo.
This is the next evolved form of Shedinja from Pokemon.
But it's called the Ushamgal Subjugator.
Yeah. Another thing about Snow's attacks in this one specifically, they're all incredibly short range. So I get a lot of different combos where like Snow would jump up into the air and miss like 3 times, and I'd be like, Snow.
Yeah, I think Zwanzig was saying.
Does he have a grenade? No, he doesn't have a grenade. I saw him use napalm, and I was really confused.
Oh my god, that
What if this thing's just shooting grenades at us? Like, how's it feel, Snow? This. I think the speedrunners just call this Ushu. Because Ushmalgal like is quite a mouthful.
I think Gal is its own syllable, so like Ushamgal. I don't know where the frickin' name Ushamgal.
So
Ushamgal.
This dude is real.
Sounds like
fast.
a Hollow Knight thing.
Oh, it's a Sumerian name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah, he uses the skill napalm a lot. Like, and by a lot I mean like over and over, constantly. He is using it the whole time. But Hope does have bar fire and protect and shell, and so you can throw a bunch of effects up on Snow and Hope. Like, I don't know that I had to heal in this whole fight because I had bar fire, protect, and shell up the whole time, and like it pretty much ruins this guy's attacks. Like at that point,
I definitely had to heal quite a bit. I was kind of jumping back and forth, and there were certain times where just the way my paradigms were set up, I had to like use Snow to just throw some potions to keep Hope alive, but if you make sure that your buffs are up the whole time, it's not too difficult. Or your defenses, I guess, instead of buffs. It does have a move that's called Overdrive, which will I think
it gives it the ability to use that fucking tail hammer.
Yeah, so it really ups its physical attacks. Where if you do a scan of it, you can see that it has the possibility of dealing a very rough physical attack, and that's that tail hammer attack.
Yeah, that's right. I guess I did have to heal during this, but like not very much. Like it wasn't too deadly.
I'm watching my playthrough of it, and at one point I did a paradigm shift as I did a paradigm shift right as it was using Tailhammer on Hope. So like as the camera fixes itself and it says paradigm shift, you just see Hope like completely like limp, just falling from the sky.
That's awesome. This is the first battle that I got 999% stagger on.
Holy
so I
shit.
maxed out the stagger bar, and like Snow's physical attack, when he would jump up in the air and hit him, he would do like 7,000 to 8,000 damage. I was just like, oh shit.
I think the highest I got was 50 or 570. I think I had to stagger it twice as well.
I think I had to do it twice. It staggers pretty quickly. It has like a lowish stagger point. It's like 150, which for a boss isn't too bad.
So we kill it, and it explodes, and it's gone forever, we presume. It
drops an abominable wing.
Yes, which I immediately put onto Fang's weapon, which I don't know if that... I didn't realize that it was the boss drop, so maybe I shouldn't have done that, but hey, we'll find out later. But it was worth it, because I got to fucking level 15. But yeah, it doesn't die, it doesn't explode
its
or
halo
anything.
glows, and it pisses off.
Yeah, it just kind of takes off, and we're like, okay, cool, like... Snow like cheers. He's like, oh yeah. It's like, dude, if that dragon that was just attacking you that close to a town that you were trying to save everyone from just took off, I don't think I would be like, yeah, like, we did it. Go. I mean, it is snow, so it makes sense.
And then we get good cutscene.
Real good cutscene.
Yeah, Hope is winded. He's like, hey man, if you need a break, why don't we do it over there? Yeah, and kind of
this area reminds me of like a posh, like a downtown high rise in like Philadelphia, where like the roof has like a swimming pool and like a little like hangout area kind of thing. Because there's like vending machines here and shit.
They got cool ass vending machines too. There's a little like sheep.
A lamb.
I wrote
like
that in my
lamb.
notes. I was like, cute little sheep.
Yeah,
I'm trying to read what the brand is called.
Real hip looking.
I like it.
It's really funny. Snow just gets a soda. And
Yeah.
shoves it forward. He's like, hey, you thirsty? Like handing it to Hope.
Yeah, and Hope's just like, I'm not thirsty. And he like doesn't know what to do with it. He like tries to hand it to Hope. Hope's like, I'm not thirsty. And he's like, okay.
It's called Moko.
Moko.
For Loco?
For Moko.
for Moko.
So I know in Japanese, and correct me if I'm incorrect, Curtis, but ko usually means like a baby version of something.
It can
So,
be
like-
oftentimes like the name ender for.
I guess it would have to be in
names,
the in the front of it, right?
Oh yeah. If it's
So,
like
like, ko
Inuko or
Rilakuma,
Ko-Inu for a
yeah.
puppy or whatever.
Yeah. But Snow does not, Hope doesn't want the soda that Uncle Snow just bought him. So
and
he's
he's-
like, okay, well, someone's got to drink it.
The
just
way he
cracks it
says
open and fucking
okay
drinks
is so
it.
funny too, because he's like, okay.
He's like, damn.
He like doesn't know what to do.
Damn, I've tried everything to get through this kid. I've tried making jokes. I've tried saying adults are stupid. I've tried giving him a sody pop.
People who get killed deserve it. I've tried everything.
We
Nothing
tried
getting through to him.
nothing, and we're
Hey,
all
we're
out of
all out
ideas.
of ideas.
This is so he's like against the railing, kind of looking over the center of Palumpolum, and Hope looks up and kind of through association remembers his
mom.
mother when he was here, I think.
Yeah,
Do you
and-
think this has to be like what 2 days now since his mom died? Like how
Exactly.
does time pass in this game?
Exactly 2 days.
So it's day 15.
So I guess I'm just going to bring it up now because we're about to get to the point, I think, where Curtis is going to be like, okay, officially Team Snow.
Yeah, Team Snow now. It's fine.
Everyone always gives him shit because the game is always like, I feel like Curtis, you were saying like the game just keeps telling me this dude's cool. You got to like this dude. This dude's cool. On the contrary, I think the game is always telling you don't like this guy. This guy sucks. Everyone hates this guy. He's bad. But all of his actions are like, it's been 2 days since like the entire world got shaken
I know.
in an unthinkable way. And this dude who was always all talk and just like the fuck up who's like the Guardian Corps like lackey who's just like, no, we make our own rules and we protect the town our own way. Like no one took him seriously. He immediately stepped up and fought the fucking army
And got
did
everybody
not back
killed.
down. He didn't get everybody killed. The army was actively killing everybody.
Well, I mean, yeah, they would have died
'Cause
anyway, but he
like,
definitely led them to
he-
an earlier grave than they would
well,
have
for sure. But I mean, you know what I mean? He did
I guess like that's the
something.
thing is he consistently shows that he's
it's-
inept at it.
You
Like,
do- for sure. And for someone who wants to be the leader and always striving to be the leader, that's definitely not a good quality. But at the same time, it's like all of this shit happened in a
means
manner
well.
of. So like day 8, day 7 or whatever is when this kind of all started coming to a head for him. He's only had like a week of prep to get out of like being like, okay to be a shithead. I'll be the leader where the stakes aren't high to being like, oh, all of the stakes are the highest they've ever been.
he needs that T-shirt that says like, I'm not the stepfather, I'm the father,
The
that,
father
stepped
that stepped up. He's standing there smiling and like thumbs up. And Hope is just next to him, like, holding the knife,
he's got,
like looking awful, like looking like so pissed. But yeah, I mean, again, I think that it's important. Like, it's easy to look at this game and be like, oh, okay, this character, here's his motivation, here's the way he acts, and I hate him. And in the same way with Hope, like we can give
No, I think
Hope
he is a
all
piece
the-
of shit, but like
all the shit in the
everybody
world.
here is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, but it's also important to remember the setting. And like for us, it's been like 15, 20 hours or whatever. So we've, and like
months and months. Yeah.
months and months of us like dissecting this. But it's like, dude, I've had 5 days in a row where I've done literally absolutely nothing. So it's like trying to keep that in mind throughout all of
Yeah,
this.
no, absolutely.
But yeah, so Hope kind of just remembers, and he has this recollection of his mom. And Alex, I think you were trying to say like an actor trying to do a child's voice.
Because it just sounds like this is a problem, and they just like, why did you just you could have just hired like a 3-year-old, or like he's supposed to sound like he's like 5 or something like that, but it just sounds like him doing a kid's voice, like "Mommy,"
Yeah.
just like which
Yeah, not great.
just grab one of like the female voice actors to do a younger kid voice like they always do in anime.
Yeah.
Instead of making the poor kid who plays Hope sound like he's 5.
Yeah, but that's kind of what pushes Hope, to his breaking point, and he just says Snow, and Snow is like just slammed the can of like energy drink or whatever of the monster, the white monster energy drink can that he has, and I was like, I might have to cancel Snow here because he's gonna litter, and he just throws it, but he throws it right into the trash can, baby.
Before that though, like as like Hope's addressing him, he does turn around like and just burps.
Yeah.
As like we're about to have a really emotional moment. It's
just a big fucking belch.
Snow? What do you plan to do? I need to know.
I told you. Save Sarah, protect Cocoon, and have myself a big, happy family. Still, it's a long road ahead.
Yeah, but whatever happens, things will work themselves out.
He says, or maybe not such a long road, as he's looking at his
brothers. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he says, like, things.
Time's ticking.
Whatever happens doesn't matter. Things always work themselves out. Even if you're a l'Cie, you've got to keep fighting. And that's when he like sinks the fucking
incredible all the way across the court.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just like nails it into the the trash can.
Yeah. And then Hope's like, yeah, well, what if your actions end up ruining someone's life? Like, what happens then?
Oh yeah, like this is like really like I think this is the part that like cuts through. Like I'm curious what the Japanese is because it just seems like it seems like the first line is, "And what if that gets people around you involved?" Which like just completely took the breath out of him.
And then Snow just like his smile just disappears, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he like thinks about it.
Yeah, what happens if your actions end up ruining someone's life? Mm-hmm. What if someone dies? What then, Snow? And then like Snow is speechless.
Yeah, and all this time we're seeing
and Snow
flashes.
Remembers all the people he's gotten like in trouble like throughout the course of his.
Yeah,
even the younger members of Nora and stuff like that. He's thinking about, because as far as we know, they're just completely obliterated with Hanging Edge just collapsing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he probably just like completely like just like compartmentalizing.
Right.
Put that in the back to not think about right now.
Exactly. Yeah,
and it's all just like gotta go. Like I gotta keep moving forward.
Yeah, each of these questions are just like really cutting into Snow, and he's visually very affected by it.
Yeah, and Hope like is like yelling at him. He's like, "How do you pay for what you've done?" And Snow turns around and finally like loses his composure because he's always like so cool, right? Like even under pressure. Mm-hmm. But he finally like loses it and he like slams his hands on the handrail that's like overlooking the city, and he just says, "I can't. All right, I can't." He's like, "There's nothing that can make something like that right again."
Mm-hmm.
When someone's dead, when someone's gone, words are useless.
Yeah. And then
Hope's like, so that's it? People dying? You just run away?
Yeah, and Snow like slams his hand again.
He slams his fist down. And before all of this, the last person that he thought of that he, that when Hope was saying all of this that he was thinking about was Nora. Yeah, he saw Hope's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, through all this, we do see flashbacks of like Sarah and Nora the group, but we do see Nora the person.
Yeah.
Through his mind.
But yeah, Snow's saying like, I don't know how to fix it. Like it's all my fault, but I don't know how to fix it. Where do you start? What do you say? All I can do is go forward. Again, kind of a trend that we've seen with other characters. This the same sort of thing that Hope is doing. Like he can't think of anything else. He just has to keep going forward on his mission. Same way that Lightning has always been her life when she was having her like crisis moment and stuff.
Yeah.
And he says, keep fighting and surviving until I can find the answers I need. And then Hope says, like, there are no answers. Like, you're running away from
and
what
the
you
music
deserve.
is hitting a fucking, like, pitch during that point when he's like, there are no answers. Like, the violins are coming in and it's very emotional. It's so good.
Yeah, but and when he says, like, you're running from what you deserve, Snow says, well, why don't you tell me what I deserve? And Hope says, the same fate.
This is so good because they are just like at this point just yelling. Like while Snow's like facing away from Hope because like Snow can't bear to look at him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But Hope like lets out a big burst of like I guessing l'Cie energy. Like I thought like, oh shit, is he gonna have to like get his idol?
I thought this was Eidolon time.
I was like, yo, Eidolon time, baby. Nope.
But it's not. Yeah.
Confusingly, no.
But it does do quite a bit of damage because it just blows out the railing that Snow was leaning against.
It knocks him over the
Yeah. He used the force spell from Dark Souls. He just fucking area of effect pushes him away.
Yeah.
There's like there's flames and shit on the ground now too.
Yeah. No, it's pretty badass. But yeah, the force of his little like burst like pushes Snow off the edge, and so Snow's like hanging onto the edge of this building with like one hand, right?
Mm-hmm. And we also see a SciComm, like just big fucking ship hovering above us as this is happening.
Yeah, one of the gunships we saw in the beginning, I think Roche was on as well when we were briefly seeing him in the FMV.
Yeah, but we kind of get a shot from Snow's perspective, like looking up as he's like trying to hold on to this edge here, and he just sees Hope with the knife, and he says...
Embers flying everywhere.
Yeah,
it's super dramatic.
Nora Estime. She was my mother. And she died because of you!
You're the one she meant!
Snow, like, it's all starting to click
He
for
puts
him.
it together, yeah.
He's starting to put it together, and he's like, you're the one that she meant. And like, as he's saying this, Hope, like, puts two hands on the blade and is about to, like, bring it down and just, like, cut Snow down so that he falls to his death. And, Snow's just like, Hope! And then a bunch of missiles just fly out from the thing, and it happens right, like, it pushes Hope over the edge, and Snow also starts falling and just grabs Hope and hugs him and like protects him as they're falling, and he breaks the fall so that Hope
he hits
doesn't
everything on the way down.
It's like Homer Simpson on the gorge.
Yeah, like Homer Simpson on the gorge.
Hope was gonna fucking do it too, which is like what makes us like I thought he would like chicken out, but it looked like if it weren't for that fucking like interference,
definitely gonna do it. But and again, Hope. Like Snow saw this and saw like the murder in his eyes and still was just like, no, I have to save this kid. Like that's the promise that I made to his mother. Like that was her dying wish.
He stands by his word.
Yeah, of course. Right. Like no matter
that's
what.
That's why he's a cool dude, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So he breaks the fall. He breaks through like a glass like little
he breaks the glass ceiling.
Yeah, he breaks the glass ceiling finally, proving that moms are tough. And just kind of keeps falling and rolling, and then hits a bunch of boxes that are just at the ground level, and they both bounce off, and then they're both kind of laying there.
Yeah. And that's the end of that scene, baby. Whew,
yeah.
My heart, my soul.
And what a scene.
Then
we get another cutscene.
Yeah, we get to save our progress here.
Yeah, do we want to keep going? How much time we have?
Yeah, let's do the Fang flashback. And
okay.
Uride Gorge, which I think is good. I think
it's Uride. I'm sorry.
Uride, yeah. I was listening back to the Corey episode and I was like, oh my god, I've been saying Uride the whole time.
I've been calling her
Uride.
I've been calling her Cramble.
Crandall.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Snow's dead.
Yeah, so Snow and Hope are fucking dead.
Yeah, but we're back at day 5 now.
Yes, we're at the Uride Gorge energy plant. We're inside it.
Yeah, and we have.
Well, I mean, we saw briefly, I guess, from Saz's point of view. A little bit, but
and from Daj's point of view, kind of. We saw from someone's point of view.
But I think this is after that, like
this is right after this happened, and we have
after Daj get branded.
We have a voiceover from Fang, so not in the moment that we're watching, but it seems like she's explaining this to Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
When we came out of crystal stasis, we didn't remember our focus or what we'd done. All we could do was wander Cocoon, looking for what we'd lost.
Like, what is a JRPG without a character with amnesia, you know?
that is an interesting idea, though, that they couldn't remember what their focus was.
Yeah, of course. And then we have in the scene itself, Vanille saying, let's give up. Forget our focus. We don't need it.
I love Vanille so much.
She's being like a little bratty, like, forget our focus. We don't need it. And she's like just pouting and like just throwing her arms down.
Yeah.
I love that, like Vanille's
like idiot
first. Like I feel like a personal connection to Vanille, because like the first thing she thinks when things get hard is like, fuck this shit, let's just give up.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know
exactly.
what? Me too.
Big time relate.
This is hard.
I love
especially
giving
after
up.
the last couple of years we've had. Like,
done
it's
with
like, my
this
God,
shit.
dude, giving up sounds great.
especially after a few hundred years of sleeping.
Yeah, because
guys, I just want to go back to bed.
I have so many eye boogers. I have so much crust on my eyelids right now.
we don't know how many what they had to do for their focus that they completed and entered crystal stasis. Like we don't know how rough or difficult that was. I'm imagining it's difficult, but it's like anytime there's like recently with like Stranger Things, like the newer season came out and it's like at the end of it and it's like setting up for the season after that, and I'm like, dude, imagine going through half of the shit that these people had to go through and then being like, we got another probably worse adventure ahead of us, let's go. I'm like,
I feel like that actually like hammers in how cruel the system is, because I think that is like one of the I don't want to say themes, but like the continuing points that the game brings up is how like cruel fate is, right?
Yeah,
and like you have these
unceasing.
people who like suffered the cruelest fate of being made a lessee, where their options are to die or become a monster, and like they did it, they succeeded somehow, and their reward is like hundreds of years
a
of
much
sleep.
worse one, yeah.
And then they have to do it again. Like, oh my god, that's so cruel.
Yeah, you're still on contract. Like, oh, if something else comes up, we'll bring you back or something.
yeah. Let's see who complete their focus are just on call.
That sucks.
I wonder if it's if there's any like religious elements to it, like like Buddhism and like the cycles and reincarnation and that kind of stuff, or like I'm not too familiar with Shintoism, but I'm wondering if there's some elements of that are kind of being presented here in this fantastical way. But I imagine there's got to be something with that of just like the never-ending suffering that can kind of happen and having to overcome it or whatever. Who knows? Someone smarter than I probably knows.
But yeah, after Vanille says, forget our focus, we don't need it, like Fang just digs into her like, you idiot. Like, we don't need it. Look, if we don't figure out and pull it off, you're going to become a Seath.
Yeah.
And Vanille, of course, is feeling conflicted because of just the thing that happened to Dodge.
Yeah.
Like, it's just making that young kid a lessee. It's not right.
Yeah.
And so does this mean that they turned him into a lessee?
They did accidentally, because when the
just by like being a bystander,
just by
them?
being in this area, the Fal'Cie sensed them and sensed them.
It's a cocoon fallacy or a sanctum fallacy.
A sanctum
Exactly.
fallacy, exactly.
and it thought it was in danger because it sensed them, and so it was like, ooh, I need somebody to defend me, and it created a lessee out of Dodge.
But we don't know why they were here yet, though.
Right.
It actually, like, even though they don't say it in this, as soon as this scene is over, the data log does tell us why they're here.
Oh, so is it the event data log, or because I was checking the people data logs after this and nothing had updated.
It's the 13 days data log.
Exactly. Yeah. So I didn't read that.
Oh, it talks about this day. Yeah.
It basically says like what happens is, so the reason that the vestige was found is because they woke up in it, and that reactivated it, and that's what allowed like Sarah to find Dodge to find the vestige and Sarah to get lost in it.
Fang's plan to infiltrate the energy plant with Vanille and recover the memory of their focus ended in failure.
They were thinking by going and speaking to a Fal'Cie or being near one, they could try to remember what their focus was. Because after they woke up in the vestige, they were like, okay, well, we're still branded, so we're still on the clock, but we don't know what we're supposed to do, and it's been 100 years. How to find out? The only way we can think is to go find a Fal'Cie and like either ask it, or maybe being around one will.
What's easier than going to the one that's like open to the public?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one's open to the public, so they go to Uriday.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. And and we also know that this kind of was a domino effect because Dodge was very sensitive to things from pulse, as we learned in the data log. So he kind of sensed them as well. So he was like, yo, we need to go there. I want to go there, Dad. And then it was kind of just,
right.
Either really unfortunate circumstances or what you would call fate, or one and the same, or neither. It doesn't really matter. These are the events that happened as they happened.
Yeah.
But Vanille says it's not fair, it's not right, and Fang's like, yeah, it's unfair, but guess what? We grin and bear it like good lessee.
Yeah.
Or the Fal'Cie starts making more, like that girl the other day.
Yeah.
So maybe Sarah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
guessing.
Yeah.
Wow. So they oh, that's right. Godot mentioned that they were over by the
Yes.
Fal'Cie as well.
Godot mentions he's like, there are two weird looking girls wearing weird clothes at the vestige. I wonder what they were up to.
So they met Sarah as well, which also like every cutscene with Vanille seeing Sarah. Actually, Sarah didn't even see Vanille, so like I was rewatching like, oh yeah, like she didn't actually like see her. They didn't see each other, but Vanille saw Sarah and like, oh shit. It doesn't matter what our focus is. We do it whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
You can kind of see why Vanille is like, Yeah, again, she has those like scenes where she seems offended or whatever by people talking about Lassie, but she also seems like very guilty the whole time.
Yeah.
Where she's like asking Saz, like, "Oh, do you really hate us?" Or like, this wasn't really the army's fault. Like, she clearly like blames herself.
Even
for
though
all
like
these
all
things.
this Lassie's terror is like following them everywhere they go.
Yeah, exactly. And so
they probably feel guilt for like this
Vanille
especially.
especially.
Like, the purge might be because of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I mean, if something like completely outside of your control happened and it caused like the army to mobilize and start doing all this horrible stuff, but like at the heart of it, even though you had no way of controlling it or even like avoiding it or anything, like it would happen no matter what. Like there's still going to be guilt that comes from that. Like it's going to be unavoidable to have guilt.
Right. But yeah, they kind of make a plan, or well, Fang makes a plan for Vanille, sort of. She's like, I'll hold them off here because the soldiers are coming. And she like kind of pushes her into an elevator and is like, you just run, go wherever, because no matter where you go, I will find you like later. Which I thought was very nice. I was like,
we
that's
do
a very
what
cute way
we've
to do
got
that.
to. We do what we got to do to get ourselves off this filthy world.
Yeah, this filthy world. I love that. Because like, again, we always think of Pulse as being the disgusting hell universe, right? And so it's fun to see like Fang and Vanille be like, oh my god, we're on Cocoon, the filthy hell universe. Like, this is a terrible place.
Yeah, all right, later, there's, I think, I'm not sure, we're probably not going to get to it this episode, but the Fang does mention like some of the propaganda that Pulse has been feeding them.
Yeah,
about
the
Cocoon.
vipers in the sky.
Yeah.
So like it goes both ways, kind of like they just Pulse and Cocoon just fucking hate each other.
But it's funny. So as Fang puts Vanille in the elevator to have her go off on her own as she stops the soldiers, she like pushes 3 buttons, and I'm like, do you know how to work that? Like, it looks like you gotta, and then she just
need one.
And then she just destroys it.
Yeah, I love that she just gently kind of tips over Vanille's on her butt.
Yeah,
and then, like,
backflips away.
Hits 3 buttons and then just stabs it. So it's just like it's getting force closed. No one's following Vanille up, and Vanille is not coming back down.
And it's sad because when it closes on her, she's like, Fang, don't leave me. I was like, oh, it's so sad.
It's very sad. Fang has a really nice smile though, like because she's doing what's best for Vanille in this moment. Like,
yeah,
she's looking out for her.
She's cool. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, she just like reminds us like, I'm not letting you become a Seath.
Yeah, you're not going to end up a Seath. And then she kind of just runs off, and we see some soldiers chasing after her. And she says, you boys coming or not? Your fight's right here. Swings her staff really cool. And then by the time
she does kind of a lightning kind of flip as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, the backflip out of the elevator. It's really good. But she says, by the time I took care of them all, Vanille was long gone. After that, Rains and his cavalry found me. I never stopped searching for Vanille, but I couldn't find her.
I love the idea that Fang is like, all right, Vanille, just run away and go somewhere safe, and I'll find you. And Vanille's like, I'm gonna get on the train to get purged.
Yeah, I'm going back to
this
Pulse,
seems
baby.
like the good idea.
Going back to Pulse, that sounds great. I'm out of here. Like maybe she like authentically, she must like. Really
maybe she believed it. Yeah, she was like, oh, a purge, a Pulse, great. I would want to go.
How fortuitous.
They finally opened up a line. That's great. Like. How progressive.
But yeah, she says like, oh, I couldn't find Vanille or our focus.
Yeah,
I'm curious how much of Vanille's relationship that Lightning has like disclosed to Fang, because like Fang's always talking about Vanille, but Vanille hasn't been part of the party since Violet Peaks. So
yeah.
If I'm sure, I mean, this is a lot of stuff they don't bother explaining because it's stuff we already know. But so I think we're just gonna assume that the main cast already knows as well.
Sure.
Just be very bloated if they had to explain like everything that has happened.
Well, I imagine that like like Lightning and Hope don't know about the stuff that Saz has disclosed, or
right.
It's like, oh hey, I know Vanille or whatever.
Unless they all have access to the data logs, like they all have access to the potions.
Right, they all share one.
But now we kind of shift over to, Lightning and Fang after this story was told. And Lightning says, so you're telling me Sarah will come back to life someday too? And we also see some, soldiers milling around as it's showing us where they are. They're like under
this is,
an
I think,
overpass.
where we started with Hope and Snow, because I see like the upper corridor.
It's the Eastern Promenade. It's the same area.
Yeah.
But they're like they're on some catwalks underneath the street, kind of out of sight and sound of the soldiers who are doing kind of patrol.
Yeah, and Fang says, yup, we didn't do our job right. That's why it made her a Lassie. We messed up. Sorry. And, Lightning's a very understanding person, so when she gets a genuine, authentic apology, she's going to react well. She just kind of walks up to Fang and smacks the fucking shit out of her.
The shit out of her.
Backhands her, dude.
Swat.
Backhands her.
I love the reverb, like the actual like shockwave of the it disturbs some birds, so some of the soldiers above that are patrolling like see birds go flying off.
I think they like hear it and they're like, the fuck was that? Like
Yeah, it was
yeah,
but like Fang just takes like a champ and he's like, is that it?
Mhm.
Just like, are you done?
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And then Lightning's like, you better hope so. But whether we're square, that's up to Sarah.
And then Fang has the deepest cut.
I was
able
like, yeah,
to,
I was
able
like,
to
you
slice
are.
Lightning down in
I
one
was
statement.
like, be careful. She just hit you, and you're on thin ice already. But she says, you sound exactly like Snow.
Oh, and dude, Lightning's face is like, ugh, like she hates it so much.
Yeah, and she
he didn't hit me.
yeah, and Lightning like pouts off a little bit and
she
crosses her
pouts
arms.
off. Yeah. Fucking got her ass.
Lightning is like, wait, he already knows about this?
Yeah.
And Fang's is like, whoa. That was a load off.
Yeah, glad I apologized. And Lightning's like, wait, you only apologized so that you'd feel better? And Fang's like, yeah, I guess so. How about you? How about you? Feeling any better now that you hit me? And Lightning said, it didn't change anything. And Fang just says, yeah, tell that to my jaw.
I love Fang. Fang's
So
great.
She's a tough cookie.
I love that, like I feel like what's fun about having Fang and Lightning paired up right now is that Lightning for the whole game thus far has been like the pragmatic utilitarian, like very like no emotions, military feeling only, right? But as time goes on, we show that like, oh, there's something a little bit more angry going on with Lightning, and now like she's met with an actual pragmatist, like somebody who like doesn't have all like the pent up rage as well, who's like, no, I'm just as efficient at killing, but I actually have control of my emotions.
Yeah.
I think Lightning, definitely has some insecurity, and Fang just seems very like, I mean, we'll find out later that she's like driven by kind of, her love and affection for Vanille.
Yeah.
At least as like, either sister or otherwise. But
I love
just,
that.
Instead of just like Lightning, I need to like fight something to give myself some purpose or whatever. Like, but Fang's like, no, I got my purpose, whatever happens.
Yeah,
I know what I'm fighting for, motherfucker.
Yeah, she's so like well adjusted. I love it. Like
she's got
like
a few screws loose, but
yeah. Like it's just funny because like Lightning has some of that like Squall and FF8 where they're like too good so they can't connect with people like on a human level because of their like kind of like superhuman ability, but Fang is like better in every way and also is very personable, and I think it's very funny seeing them together.
It's really good.
And like in the way that she challenges Lightning in a way that no other character has.
But yeah, we kind of get an establishment, just quick little scene of Lightning saying, Felix Heights is up there, still a ways before we get to Hope's place. Fang's like, oh, we better pick it up. And Lightning says, like, we'll head through that gate. Music. Yeah. But it's like, oh, we'll head through that gate. And it shows a shot of like the area that we need to go to next. And Fang's like, right.
It's the same area that we've walked through already with Snow and Hope.
Yeah.
But now it's the golden hour, so we know that the day is disappearing.
But I think that's where we're going to leave it for today, right?
I believe so.
For me.
Yeah. Good scene, dude.
We got farther than I thought we would, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I wasn't sure where we would end. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very...
There's a lot of good points, at least, because of this kind of switch back and forth. And
we are at a point in the game, too, where like I don't want to stop playing, though. Where like every week I'm just like, fuck, I want to keep going.
Yep. It's
really
nice. I've
good.
always been ahead of the homework the past couple of weeks because I've just been like, hey, I still got some time to play and I don't want to just stop. And I don't know where we're stopping, so I'm just going to keep going.
Right.
I've been replaying and just to like fill in some gaps in the bilingual script I'm putting together. And it's been cool seeing things now with the context after playing this chapter.
Yeah.
It's with, like I said, with Vanille and Fang, all the knowledge that I knew they knew.
Right.
But yeah. Good chapter. I mean, we're not even done with it.
I know, I'm excited to see more.
I think it is chapter 7 now. I believe
we've been on chapter 7 for a bit, I think.
Chapter 7 starts right when we get into Palumpolum.
Oh yeah, so it's called Interference, what we were talking about earlier. That's chapter 7.
Okay. Gotcha. Have you done the there's an extremely Call of Duty boss coming up.
Cool.
Very soon.
Sick.
Where like, yeah, we always talk about like how they were inspired by like those games, and like the boss of that section is like, okay, this is a military shooter boss. I get it. It's cool.
Well, Alex, do you want to hit us with some unknowable ball of energy that knocks us off of the roof and then proceed to try and stab us?
Well, thank you to Masashiyama Uzu for lots of different music this episode. There's like some weird like
all the music,
something that sounded like Nero's boss fight from last game. Like I've been seeing all these things like that just remind me of Dirge of Cerberus. Actually, yes.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about it this time. Almost every part of this chapter that we've been playing does not have the battle music. The music of the area continues into the fights.
It's so good.
It's awesome.
I think when we're on like the rooftops, it's either when we were doing that with Snow earlier or coming up. Or I guess it's not coming up. No, I think we did cover it in this episode. It's just playing like Guided by Light like the entire time as we're in the overworld as well. And it's like everything's so good. Like every song, I there were so many times when I was like, dude, this song is fucking awesome.
It's really
There's
good.
so many different songs of this chapter. Yeah, like when the aerial troopers show up, I think we get like some weirdly weird drum and bass stuff that remind me of like the fight with Nero.
Yeah.
And I noticed actually, like I'm curious though of like how much of this soundtrack might be leftovers from Dirge, because immediately after this scene that we just ended on, there's a hook in the like a theme in the music that does sound like the which is like the Dirge Dirge motif, but it's in this song. So pay attention.
Final
to that.
Fantasy would never reuse a motif from an older game,
because usually they plug in like all the like the Promise or Blinded by Light and kind of plug that into the orchestral bit.
It's so good. All the music.
Either way, even if it is or isn't, I'm not gonna harken it. But it's like, man, he fucking cranking out all this music. He's gonna make it work for this game.
So good.
But yes, thank you, Masashi Amuzu. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and your, wherever you get your podcast if it's legal in your state. You can text us or call us at 530-MATERIA. You can find us at EveryFNFF on Twitter, Instagram. Join our Discord, and we also have a YouTube channel, which you can also subscribe and follow and comment and all that stuff.
And all the rest.
And podcasting doesn't fix it.
All right, goodbye.
I am a podcaster. I'm here to kill you all.
I know podcasting doesn't make it right.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.